What's up, everybody? Alan from Dice Wrench back again, looking at more Wind Reactor Module for foliage render. This is the big one. This is probably why you're here. As you can see, we are back in the example scene. We're going to blast through this. I'm just going to give you the information. I'm not going to ramble. Maybe. You never know. It's too late. Here we are. Okay, we're back in the example scene. As you can see, I've added some more polish, added some heather, added some of the different bushes. Got the materials looking good. Nice and windy. Okay. As you know, we've got wind reactors, we've got wind samplers, but there's no way to really get those in the scene, right? If we look at our terrain here, all of these prototypes, right? These are terrain prototypes. These prototypes are just sent straight over to the graphics API. They're not actually in the scene, so we can't just plonk a particle system in here and have it work. It's not going to show up. Nothing's real, right? In the case of foliage render, it's indirect instance. It's even less real. In Unity, depends what version you're in, right? So to solve that problem, what we need is this Terrain Decorator component, okay? And I'm going to take you through this pretty quick. You can register this like a worker with the rest of the foliage render ecosystem. So if you want to run this at runtime, because you want to dynamically generate your terrain, or you're loading it and you want to have the load be small and then instantiate the stuff over time, you've got that option here. You can plug in a seed so you know what you're going to get, and you can choose your job scheduling mode, whether it's synchronous or scheduled. You can apply it on start so you don't have to call it yourself if you want to. And then you've got a couple buttons here if you want to do it at edit time like we are. So you apply decorators, you can clear decorators, debug tools, and this other stuff we'll look at in another video. It's really cool and powerful, but doesn't work with every workflow. It's a little fiddly, so it deserves its own screen time. Okay, so what's going to get applied here is determined by these Terrain Decorator blueprints. You can make those up here by going to Foliage Render, Terrain Decorator Blueprint. It's a scriptable object. You know them, you love them. If you don't know them, you should love them. If you don't love them, I don't know how you exist. Okay, not getting distracted. So here I've made a few for sort of the example assets that already exist in the project. Got your different trees, spawns pine needles. Here's one for the heather, spawns the heather petals. Got nice little heather petals in here for you. Oh, nice. Not gonna win any awards, but it's good enough. It'll get you started and it'll get you making your own stuff, which is great. Give you a jumping off point, and it will let you sort of punch up your sort of typical Unity terrain asset scenes very quickly, which is great. Okay, so first of all, in each of these, you're going to need to assign the prototype that this decoration corresponds to, right? Because we're going to read the terrain positions of everything, and then we're going to say, hey, where are all of these things? And then wherever those things are, we're going to put this stuff. That's it. Layer mode, you can use the decorator, so whatever prefab gets spawned down here, it'll just use that layer mode, or you could set it to the terrain's layer mode. Just maybe some different camera culling scenarios you might want one or the other. You can match the scale of the prototype. So prototypes spawn with random size. Maybe you want to match the scale of that. Like if you've got a particle system, you want the shape to get bigger, the shape of the emitter to match your tree. That makes sense. If it's like just a sound or something else, just ignore it, right? Doesn't matter. And then you've got a different number of options for how you want to parent. You can parent to the terrain, you can parent to a parent, you can just not parent it. Chuck it all at the root. Okay. We're going to parent to a terrain. It's easiest to grok. Next up, we have got the random object selection. So, right, in this case, we're decorating heather A. That's one of our prefabs. We can have a bucket here of like different particles, and then we could have one that's sometimes they spawn a sound or they don't, or sometimes they spawn a different particle thing. Like maybe there's a chance that one of them has bees. You tell me. I don't know. Okay. Remember, all these things don't have to be wind oriented, right? Like we're using this tool set in another project to just spawn game object copies of things because we're using microverse to populate the world, but then we're sort of using decorators to like, hey, add all these things and then don't draw the regular prototype version. This is a really powerful tool set that you can use for all sorts of sorcery. Okay, last up we've got example decorator for details. This has got the different bushes. So there's some red leaves and some green leaves. So your bushes, if they get hit by wind, can blow stuff. So great. We'll go to Terrain. We'll hit apply. It'll think for a second because we're at edit time. It's got to spawn a bunch of stuff. All right. Oh, we spawned all the tree ones. We don't want the tree ones. We're trying to take cool screenshots. We need these flowers. Okay. We're going to switch this over to header details and decorator details. All right. Now I'm going to leave this scene without this done so you can play along at home. So if you're in the project right now and you're like, oh, I should do these steps too. It should be right here. You shouldn't have to undo anything. You should be good to go. And then you can just follow along this video. Hooray. Okay, so we're gonna do these and we're gonna hit apply. Cool, there we go. Now we've got our little pink petals flying off of the heather. We've got some red and green leaves back here flying off these bushes. Great. Good enough. We don't need to mess with pine needles. We're too far away from all the trees for the screenshot, and we need stuff that's punchy. Okay. As you can see, they're all spawned in here. You can also notice that they are not preserving their prefab. That is so that the code is the same between edit time and runtime. So there's less for me to maintain. Just in case. And you know exactly what you're going to get. Cool. So now we have got all these things in this scene. But if we look in here, they're very simple. Particle system, particle wind reactor, prototype decorator, rotation wind reactor. We're used to this setup. What's missing? No wind sampler. Now we can put a wind sampler to every one of these, but that means there's potentially lots and lots and lots of wind samplers, especially if you're trying to do like grass blades blowing it every little bit. There are grass blade particles in here for your mowing simulators. You're welcome. Okay. So that's a problem, right? Now let's think about this. Let's go to our scene view here. Let's back up. Here's our big terrain. We're not going to zoom out too far because the fog will hide everything. But think about if you're a fast character or you're like in a Jeep driving around chasing dinosaurs, I guess. I don't know. It's your game. Don't ask me why you made a dinosaur chasing game, but you did. It's not necessarily essential that every one of these tree leaves, right? Let's assume we did the leaves on the trees. All those start shedding their leaves in exactly the right order, right? Like this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy. Like that is very nice. And for trees, probably okay. But if you start getting into like every little one of these flower clumps is going to have its own sampler. Now we're doing a lot of sampling. And performance-wise, maybe that doesn't work for us. What we need is a way to put down a whole bunch of wind samplers very quickly and then attach all of our reactors to the samplers in our scene. Good news, everybody. Foliage render. Go to Wind Reactor Toolkit. Assign your terrain. Tell it the grid size of the wind sampler grid you want to create. In our case, let's just do like 8 by 8. Okay? Now what this is going to do is this is going to look at the size of our terrain. It's going to look at the size of the grid we want to create. And it's going to spawn a sampler with the correct activation size so that there's no overlap or no gaps. And then we can use this register reactors to samplers that will automatically vacuum up everything to what's in range. Okay, so we're going to hit create. Created 64 wind samplers. If we go down here, here's all of our wind samplers. Now you can see we have a nice grid. All the little corners touch, right? So there's some overlap. Now when we hit register, it's going to vacuum everything up into just these few samplers that actually overlap the things we've placed, because we really only placed on these bushes and these heather clumps that are in our little view here of our screenshot that we're trying to take. Okay. Now remember, the wind is kind of texture based. So imagine our giant scrolling texture is going by. The center of each of these samplers is like the little eyedropper. It's telling us how much wind is right here. And then it's telling that sample value to everything in its bubble, everything that's registered to it. Okay, so all of these things in this circle that they're closest to, right? Like maybe they're, see, some of them are in this one, and then some of them are in this one, right? So whichever one they're nearest to the center of, they will be registered to. That's handled automatically by this great register button. All of these are going to get that same value all at once. So maybe 8 by 8 is like too coarse for our use case. But what we're going to do, we'll just grab this guy. We're just going to dupe this. We're going to move it. And we're going to put some more in here. Okay. So let's go get to all of these clumps. And we're going to turn our activation range down temporarily. Just to kind of get everything sensible and make it a little easier to navigate. So we'll do like a 5 here. Now, this activation range is not just the vacuuming range. This is how close does our interest transform have to be in order for me to turn on. If you watch the wind sampler and reactor video, this makes sense to you. How close do I have to be in order to turn on reading my value? So if this is really tight like this, our camera's going to have to be like right in there to turn this on. So we're just going to position everything, we're going to register it, and then we're going to bump these back up, okay? This having these like smaller gizmo spheres just makes it a little easier for my smooth brain to get these in the right spots. All right, so we're going to make some more. We'll get that clump here, get a little clump over here. We'll do those. Maybe this could be a little bigger because I really just want to make sure that I get the things that are in the range, right? And we'll put a couple back here. Make that guy a little bigger. He can be like a 15. Yeah, nice. Okay, we'll do some of this so that these, right, these don't all go at the same time, but they're a little bit offset, a little bit more sensitive, even though we're pretty far away. We're probably not going to see any of these. Anyhow, okay, great. So then let's take all these ones that we've cloned and we're just going to bump the activation range up to 100 so that we make sure our camera is in range here so that when we push play, it'll work. And we're going to hit register. So now each of these grabbed, right, this guy, this wind sampler, who is massive, now owns all of these heather particles. Great. So we're done there. And if you ever need to make a change, you can hit clear, update your prefab, hit apply again, it'll rerun, then hit register in the toolkit, and everything will be back where you left it. So it's very easy to iterate, which is great. Now we go to our game view. We're going to push play. And now when the wind blows over here, these things go. And maybe I've made them too sensitive. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I have. But there you go. That's the whole workflow. We can tweak these as we go. I'm going to hit print screen because I'm going to dump this into Photoshop and get it ready for the asset store page because I think we're there. But that's the whole workflow. Now you've seen the real thing. You know how it all works. Oh, what didn't you like here? A Bizarro fallback editor window complaint. Yeah, we're ignoring that. It's not even real. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, as always, hit us up in the Discord. Show us what you're working on. Lots of cool projects going on in the Discord these days. Make sure you check that out. Thank you for learning more about Wind Reactor. It's very cool. It's one of the coolest pieces of foliage renderer so far. I hope you enjoy. Thanks, everybody. Bonus post-credit scene. All right, it was bothering me a little bit. The heather petals, what I ended up doing, I don't know why the particle system editor is complaining. It's not me. It's Unity's freaking out about something with the GUI stuff. Minimum intensity here, I bumped that up to 5, and now we're getting a much better like on-off on the heather particles. Thumbs up. We did it. We got him.